know what they mean. Okay. We always have to offer free college. Oh, free... Oh, shit. I mean... That's kind of the same thing. I'm all for free. This is a bad start. Provide universal pre-K. Provide subsidies for... We already do that. We already do this. Provide universal pre-K. If we do that, we don't need to do the subsidies. Right?
Yeah.
And that lets people go to work. Okay. Increase the gas tax by 15 cents, then grow it in future years. Or limit highway spending to current revenue. I like this one because it'll grow with inflation in future years.
That's going to make it so gas prices keep going up.
I mean, they're going to go up anyway.
I guess, but it'll make it worse. Or you can incentivize electric vehicles.
I'm indifferent to electric vehicles. Enact climate change investments. Oh god, I didn't know I could do that. Oh.
Fine.
Oh, income-based repayment. Fuck yeah.
Huh?
Replace current student loan subsidies with income-based repayment. That's a great idea.
Why is it just everybody pays a little bit into it?
It's like subsidized living. It's like whatever you're making at your work, you pay a little bit of it. Stop fucking with the cat.
I know. I knew you were talking about me.
Enact climate change investments. This option would increase funding to combat climate change. We need to do that or the Earth's going to die. There's no point in saving money if we can't do that. Devolve K education to the states? What does that mean? Fucking right in my ear.
I'm not even close to you. Stop.
You were like right here.
I was right here.
Whatever. If he says bear more. Okay. I mean, make the states responsible for public school instead of federal. School already kind of needs help.
Yeah, I think getting federal help would be the worst bad thing.
Yeah. We'll help some things. We're doing pretty bad. Defense. Return defense spending to 2017 levels.
Okay.
Slow development of new weapon systems. Reduce U.S. Navy ship construction. Allow veterans to see any doctor outside of the VA. That increases the debt, though.
Worth it.
How does that increase the debt? Wouldn't that mean you pay the doctors less?
What's that?
If you allow veterans to see any doctor outside of the VA, wouldn't that mean you have to pay the VA doctors less and you'd be able to save money? Why would that increase the debt?
Here's the thing. I don't know what the scientific answer is, but I'll tell you this. If I could go see outside doctors, my disability would be higher.
No shit.
Which means they have to pay more.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Okay.
I'm assuming that's what it is.
Well, limit eligibility for and scope of veterans' benefits.
No. You can't double dip. That's not fair.
No, I wouldn't do that. Reduce foreign aid and international program spending. Yeah, we need to focus on our own country before we fucking do other people's things. Freeze defense spending for 2 years or return. Yeah. Just stop altogether. Like, we don't fucking need it. Illegal immigration. Either tighten border security and build a wall, which obviously increases the debt, or provide a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, which we're supposed to have in place anyway, and they say we have a place. But we don't.
We do, but the wait list is astronomical.
Exactly. Like, fuck that shit. No. Do this. It fixes the debt. It helps people. Like, there's no bad to this. Reduce the number of military personnel. We don't need the fucking world's biggest fucking terrorist system in the world. Raise the normal retirement age to 69. Fuck old people. We're not living that long anyway. And you know what? By the time we hit, like, besides being an asshole and saying fuck them, by the time we hit 69, it's going to be like the new 59. Like, it's going to be, we're going to feel fine. We're going to not want to stop working. We might be butthurt about it and be like, oh, well, our grandparents got to retire at this age. Why can't we? But realistically, like, medical advancements, we're going to feel fine. We're not going to need to retire at 65. 69 is fine. All right. Slow initial benefit growth. What does that mean? Here you may choose one of three options for slowing the growth of initial benefit payments or the payments that beneficiaries receive their first year of the program. Benefits would still be expected to grow for most beneficiaries under each of these options. This is Social Security. Okay. Just not by as much as currently expected. The first option would implement phased-in benefit reductions for all beneficiaries. The other two options are considered progressive, meaning they include protections against reduced benefits. Okay, so I don't understand most of this language.
What?
I don't know Social Security language.
I don't know my Social Security
Shit. Okay. Slow benefit growth for top 70% of earners, or top 40%, or for everybody. Currently, initial Social Security benefits, or the benefits that a retiree receives in their first year, are determined in a way that allows them to grow with wage growth throughout the economy. This option would instead price index all benefits. Since prices generally grow more slowly than wages, this option will gradually slow the growth of Social Security benefits, leading them to be about 30% lower than currently projected by 2050. Honestly, Social Security is fucked anyway. It's probably not going to last that much longer. We're not going to live to see Social Security.
No, you aren't. It's going to be gone.
Exactly. Like, there's just cut our losses. It's gone. If you don't save for retirement, you're dead. Or just work till you die. Address cost of living adjustments. Adopt to CPI. What is CPI? What the fuck is CPI? This doesn't. Oh, there you are. Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Hey, that's me. Use change CPI to measure inflation. The change CPI is a price index developed 15 years ago that many economists say better measures inflation than the current CPI. It grows about 0.25%, so a quarter of a percent slower per year than the current CPI. That's not too bad. That's not very much slower. That's negligible differences. Lawmakers adopted the change CPI for tax provisions, and that sounds fine to me. Okay. Raise Social Security payroll tax cap? I don't know what that means. Workers and their employers pay Social Security taxes on income up to its taxable maximum. In 2021, earnings up to that number are subject to the Social Security payroll tax, and that amount increases annually by average wage growth. Originally, in 1937, about 92% of all earnings were subject to the tax. While the 1977 Social Security Amendment is intended to set the cap to cover 90% of earnings, it has since fallen to about 83% of earnings. This proposal would raise the taxable maximum to cover 90%, like it did in 1937. Okay. Second option, workers and their employers pay the envelope. This option would instead gradually eliminate the cap over 10 years. Yeah, tax the fuck out of them. There's no tax cap. The more money you make, the more you should be taxed. There's no fucking tax cap.
That was an investment.
I don't care. The more money you make, the more you get taxed. Period. End of sentence.
There goes Sammy's investments. No stocks.
I have like $20 in stocks. I don't give a shit. And they're in 20 different stocks. I have like
That's
$1.
only put $20 into it.
That's all I can afford.
Exactly. If you have more money, you put more money into it.
Raise payroll tax rate by 1%. Social Security is mostly financed by a 12.4% payroll tax split equally between employees and employers. This option would increase that rate by 1%. Okay, that's literally negligible. No one cares. Means test benefits for high-earning seniors. Oh, I didn't mention that. I want to read about it. I'm not doing anything until I read about it. The Social Security system provides benefits to all who pay into it, including very high earners. This option would reduce benefits for couples making more than $120,000, a reduction that increases linearly up to a maximum benefit cut of 50% for couples making more than $300,000. Yeah, okay. So the more money you make, the more you need to be taxed.
Well, that's not what it's saying. What it's saying is basically if you make a lot of money, you're going to get less in Social Security when you go to claim it. And
that's fine because you made the money when you were.
Exactly, because if you're
as
smart,
long as you're not fucking stupid and spending it all, and you're saving at least a little bit.
If you're making $150,000, you should be investing it. You should be saving it. You should be able to grow it enough so like Social Security is not going to matter. And even think about it, even if you made $10 billion, you're still getting 50% of your Social Security by that. What you're saying.
Okay. Reduce disability insurance program cost. The SSDI program has experienced deficits in recent years, and despite a temporary infusion of revenue, is set to go insolvent. What the fuck is insolvent? Dormant or something? By 2035, according to that office. This option would take several steps to reduce SSDI costs in order to bring spending in line with revenue. Specifically, it would increase the work requirements. I don't care about specifics. So this is saying they're going 2 balls to the wall right now, and they're going to go bankrupt by 2035, but this wants to slow it down so it stays longer and also saves a little bit of money, is what I'm understanding by this. It would increase the work requirements to receive benefits, which is fine. Eliminate benefits for those over age 62, which you're getting Social Security anyway after that. Yeah, those who are eligible, okay. Limit retroactive benefits to 6 months rather than the entire period. Yeah, yes, please. That's ridiculous. Extend the waiting period for receiving benefits from 5 to 6 months. That's fine. And make a person receiving unemployment benefits ineligible for. Yeah, why would you be eligible for SSDI and unemployment? That makes no sense. We're turning that on. What?
Just like the goal of the military.
To get unemployment and disability?
The goal of the military. Let me tell you the perfect end game.
Oh, listen.
20 years or 30 if you want to go for the full. Let's go perfect end game. 30 years.
Okay.
You get your full pension.
Yep.
You get out. You get 100% disability from the VA.
Yep.
You go to the civilian world, be like, hey, I can't work. You get 100% from there. And then you just got to wait till you get old enough to qualify for Social Security, and then you get Social Security.
So you're getting paid 4 different ways? Jesus Christ.
All the government money.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. This
is why I cut all the spending from the defense, babe.
That's fine. If I got that, I wouldn't need the defense money. Decrease the private's pay. I don't give a shit.
Whatever. Increase benefits. Increase benefits for all beneficiaries or increase for vulnerable.
But yeah, so that's called a perfect end game, and very few achieve it.
So this would just undo everything I just cut. But I want to look at what they mean by vulnerable. This option would increase benefits in a few ways for select populations. First, it would establish a minimum benefit so that a worker with 30 years of earnings would automatically receive a benefit of 125 of the federal poverty level, which isn't a lot of money. That's nowhere near like a living wage. With proportionately smaller minimum benefits for work histories between 10 and 30 years. Second, it would establish an old age bump up that would increase a person's benefit by 5% after 20 years of eligibility for Social Security benefits. That was a whole lot of reading and none of it got retained. I just read words off a page.
What is it?
I stopped reading after the second point. Second, it would establish an old age bump up that would increase a person's benefit by 5% after 20 years of eligibility for Social Security. So if you're on Social Security for 20 years, you get a 5% pay increase. So when you're 80.
Yeah, so you got like 1 or 2 years left. Here's $5 extra.
What am I looking at right now? I'm at 104%. I'm not for it.
The Sammy says no.
I fuck old people. Like, you're gonna die anyway. Either get rich or die poor. That's my stance.
Well, I mean, we have to live poor, so fuck it.
Exactly. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. If I can live in subsidized housing and food stamps and shit like that, you can do it. Oh, Lord, okay. Healthcare. This is the best part. Where's universal healthcare? Where are you?
Yeah, where are you?
That's all I want. The rest can get turned off.
Yeah, not the rest of it.
Expand Medicare to cover hearing, vision, and dental. That's all that matters. I don't need anything else. Reduce prescription drug costs, obviously. Whoa! That went up by a lot.
What?
Expanding Medicare to cover hearing, vision, and dental costs $490 billion.
Yeah, because they can't scam you anymore, so they have to actually pay it up.
Fucking good. Screw them. You know what? That's worth it. Screw the government. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. Modify healthcare reform law, aka Obamacare. How are we going to refine it? Or modify it? Extend expanded Obamacare subsidies. Extend Obamacare subsidies and close the coverage gap, or replace Obamacare with state grants. Let's read what those mean. This option would make the temporary ARP expansion permanent. I guess I have to read the whole fucking thing then. The ARP temporarily expanded health insurance subsidies from the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. Under current law, from 2023 onward, subsidies are designed to cap average premiums at 2% for families at the poverty line, rising to nearly 10% for families earning 400% of the poverty line. So rich people. I don't know. What is this one? This one would lower the debt. This option would replace Obamacare's insurance subsidies and Medicaid expansion with state-based grants. The grants would be set at 2019 spending levels, adjusted for inflation, starting in 2023, and would grow with inflation after that. States would have flexibility in how they use the funding to provide health coverage, though the grants would be smaller than the spending they are replacing and would grow more slowly over time. I mean, it would be smaller because it's a state, not a federal.
Yes, it means it's going to be smaller money.
Yeah. I mean, is Obamacare really that much money to begin with?
Obamacare is a pretty big thing, babe. So here's the thing. When Obamacare first came out, it was a steaming hot piece of shit.
Why? I like it.
No, so it was good in the sense that, like, if you couldn't get healthcare before, it gives you the opportunity to get some.
Yeah.
But the bad thing was when Obamacare came out is they didn't have a system in place for how Obamacare wanted it to be. So instead of having a dedicated primary care physician, you could just go to any primary care physician that insurance would tell you to go to.
That's how it should be, isn't it?
No, so
you should be able to go to any doctor.
No, it would be up to the government who you go see. So think of it this way. Imagine, like, our doctor's right down the road. Imagine it's like, hey, you can't go to that doctor because we won't pay for it. But don't worry, we're going to give you another one. But you got to go to Concord. That was the issue. Now people didn't have a primary care physician. They were getting bounced around between a bunch of different doctors. And the problem was the doctors were seeing such a mass influx of people.
I mean, our Medicaid gives us a doctor. We just say fuck that and see somebody else. Like, my doctor isn't my doctor on paper.
Yeah.
She's just who I see because that's who I I called her and said, "Hey, do you accept my Medicaid?" And she said, "Yes." So I just okay, you're my doctor.
Yes,
now.
well, that's because Obamacare has been relaxed a little bit.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter anymore. Back in the day, though, no, you would have to go see whatever that doctor was they assigned you to,
I guess.
and you could not see anybody else, or insurance would not cover it.
I never heard that, but okay.
No,
I believe you.
That was when Obamacare first came out. Now that Obamacare's been out for a little bit, Republicans are still in the bandwagon. It's a piece of shit. It's not. It's actually not a bad thing. It does need to get tweaked a little bit still, because it's not perfect.
I mean, yeah, it's only a few years old. Like, nothing's perfect. Fucking food stamps have been around since the, Depression? That's still not perfect.
Well, no, think of it this way. Back in the day, Social Security didn't exist, and you were as fucked if you couldn't work.
That too.
And it took a long time for Social Security to get good. Is it good now? No.
I mean,
it's not a perfect system.
I don't know. That's where my brain, the two sides of my brain fight, where, like, half of me says, okay, they're old, they can't work, like, take pity on them. But the other half is like, survival of the fittest, they had their chance. If they can't survive, they die. Fuck off.
Well,
lower the population.
We're talking about Medicare right
now. I know, but I'm talking about Social Security now.
Social Security is just like, this is the thing you have to understand with Social Security. It's not just old people that go on Social Security.
I guess. It's either old or disabled people who can't work.
Yeah.
And if you can't work, we don't need you. In my opinion. In half of my brain's opinion.
No,
the other half
listen.
Is like,
I used to think the same way you, but I was more strict about it. Like, no, if you're not used to society, you're useless. You should be.
Yeah, that's half of my brain saying, like, there's no point to you.
No, see, and I get what you say, because, like,
the other half is like, oh, we need to put you in a little home and, like, give you free blankets and free food and cuddles all the time. And,
it's not so much that, but I know what you mean. Like, part of my brain says, like, hey, society-wise, these guys are useless. They shouldn't exist. We should just have the Spartan mentality where we kick them off a cliff and be done with them. The other part of me is saying, like, hey, everybody has a right to exist. We're not going to make these guys rich, but let's give them enough to be able to get by.
I'm going to pull the stupidest move I've ever done in my life. I'm going to pull a Supreme Court. And I'm going to pull Supreme Court. Listen, I'm going to explain. I'm going to say, let the states deal with it. Because this is my logic. Number one, 50% of this fucking population hates Obamacare just because of the name. It's just a buzzword. You say it, they hate it, no matter what.
Just rename it. Just make it the exact same
honestly,
thing.
You could do that. But besides that, besides that, point number two is, I hate saying this because I really hate what the Supreme Court did, but if you don't like it, move to a different state. If you don't like how your state deals with your Obamacare or their version of Obamacare, go to a state that does it differently. If you don't like how your state deals with abortion laws, go to a different state.
I would say it's a...
so I'm going to go with replace with the state grants.
If that's what you want to do, go for it.
I don't agree with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I want to make that very clear. But
well, you got to understand, it's a slippery slope. Because, and no, this is the reason why. Trump managed to find his way into office somehow. So what it shows is that over time, an idiot can get put in charge of a government. So imagine if we had the next Donald Trump.
But what are the odds? But what are the odds that 50 idiots can get put into power? Like, somewhere, some state's going to have good laws. Maybe you have to move every 2 years. I don't know.
It's more likely than you think. Because, like... Well, also, could you imagine that? Like, every 4 years or something, you had to fucking move to a different state just because everything's...
I mean, if you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
I mean, come on.
You could do it. No, you could do what that guy in King of the Hill did, and, like, from this year to this year, I was on welfare because this guy was the president, and from this year to this year, a Democrat was in office, so I was on welfare.
No, listen, some people actually do that. Like, when Democrats are in office, they'll immediately find ways to get onto welfare because it usually gets boosted under Democrats.
Yeah.
And then the second Republicans hit, they'd be like, no, I'm getting off it. It's not. Hey, I'm going to go back to
because when Republicans are in office, tax rates usually go down, so it's worth it to work because you're paying less taxes, you're saving more money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when Democrats get in office,
taxes go up,
and welfare goes up.
So it's better to be on welfare.
It does make sense.
No, people do it. People play the system. Believe me.
If my time limit on TANF wasn't coming up, I would start doing that. But we have a Democrat in office now, and my TANF has been going way the fuck up. Like, I think I currently earn $400 more every month than I did last year. So
yeah, no, absolutely, play the system.
Always.
This is
fuck the government.
This is why I'm thinking libertarian. You just play the system. Whoever benefits you more at the time, use that.
All right, next question. Modernize Medicare cost sharing. What does that mean? Currently, cost-sharing, deductibles and copays / coinsurance in Medicare varies greatly depending on the type of service performed and whether it's in a hospital, outpatient facility, or another care setting. I guess. I don't know what that sentence means. I don't understand it. This option would make would make cost sharing uniform for all services provided by Medicare Parts A and B. Combine the current. Okay, so it would kind of eliminate capitalism. Is that what I'm getting? No.
Read it again real slowly.
This option would make cost sharing uniform for all services provided by Medicare Parts A and B, combine the current separate deductibles for Parts A and B, and provide beneficiaries the protection of an annual cap on cost sharing liability. So cost share is just what you owe when, like, it's a copay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Deductibles and copays / coinsurance. Because when I had the government child care subsidy, what I had to pay was called a cost share. That was my share of the cost. Excuse me. So modernize. Whenever I see the word modernize, I'm for it. Let's do it. I don't need to read it. Excuse me. Increase Medicare premiums for high income beneficiaries. Yes, I understand those words. Reduce Medicare Advantage costs. Medicare Advantage is the system of private insurance, blah, blah, blah. This option would eliminate this difference across the board. God damn it. Why? I don't want to read the whole thing. Just give me like 2 sentences.
No.
All right, I'll start over. Medicare Advantage is the system of private insurance plans that provide Medicare equivalent coverage to Medicare enrollees. About 45% of enrollees are in Medicare Advantage. Plans submit bids to provide Medicare coverage and can receive rebates to provide additional benefits based on how much lower their bid is relative to a benchmark. One aspect of how plans are paid is the risk adjustment system, which adjusts payments based on the health status of insurers, enrollees. I'll wait.
Sorry.
In order to prevent insurers from cherry-picking healthy enrollees. That's a good thing, I guess. However, the Medicare Payment Advisory Commission the Medicare, it's a singular thing, has estimated that Medicare Advantage enrollees have higher risk scores than similar enrollees in traditional Medicare. This option would eliminate this difference through an across-the-board adjustment to risk scores, thereby reducing payments. Okay, that sounds great. Let's do it. Ugh, God, I'm so stuffed up right now. I can't. I'm stuffed. Ugh. Enact medical malpractice reform. This option would reform medical malpractice suits by capping awards of non-economic damages at $250,000, capping awards of punitive damage at $500,000, and created a statute of limitations of 1 year for claims brought by adults and 3 years for those on behalf of children. These limitations would reduce the cost of medical malpractice. That sounds great on all accounts to me. Reform Medicare provider payments. This option would reform Medicare provider payments, no shit, in multiple ways that would reduce spending. Specifically, it would equalize payments for outpatient services across different settings. Reduce and equalize payments for post-acute care received after a hospital stay, for example, and reduce payments for hospital bad debts. Unpaid medical bills. That was a long sentence. It would equalize payments for outpatient services. That's good. Reduce and equalize payments for post-acute care. That's good. And reduce payments for acute bad debts. That's good. That sounds good. I don't... Like, why are we paying so much money for all this stuff if we don't need to?
What, with Medicare?
Anything. Literally any of this.
Some of the stuff there's pros and cons to. Medicare, here's the thing. Here's why people have this phobia of universal health care.
Here we go.
And it's a simple thing that I can explain because I technically have it.
So do I. Medicaid's universal.
Yes and no, but I'm saying like for anybody. See, in order to have Medicare, you have to be poor.
Okay, but in order to have VA, you have to go to the fucking military.
Correct, but the thing is, what you have is honestly better than what I have.
Like, yeah, I can go to any doctor I want.
You can go to any doctor you want. You don't get put on. Well, that's not true. With dental, you do. You get put on extreme wait lists.
But I also only cover emergency dental stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't cover anything preventive or, like, routine or exams or anything like that.
I mean, it's the same thing with the VA. The VA is a little bit easier to manipulate, though, because the VA will only cover what you're service connected unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
But the thing is, just get it on your record somehow. Even if that's 0%, you'll still be covered for the rest of your life.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, no, like, babe, the scar on my wrist, which is at 0%, I'm covered for the rest of my life.
So if you break your wrist again, they'll cover it?
No, my wrist I have a separate disability with.
So the scar.
No,
the skin.
I'm disabled because of the skin. So like, imagine if I got like in a serious accident and deformed my face.
I understand that, but like
it's considered a deformity. But as for my wrist itself, the broken part of it, so the
no,
scar
I get the differentiation.
Okay.
I was just it's stupid that they have to include that.
No, because
if it's on your face, I get it. But your wrist is stupid.
It's because you can get any scar. If you get like a scar like across your chest or something like that,
you can hide that.
You can, but like they give it to you because if you take a shirt off, maybe the person you're with doesn't like it or whatever.
That doesn't affect your fucking job abilities.
They never give you anything more than like 0 to 5% tops. But no, as for my wrist though, my wrist is disabled. If anything, if I develop arthritis or for whatever reason, my grip strength like I have right now is weaker.
Yeah.
Or if my
so
wrist,
they pay for physical therapy.
Yeah, they'll pay for my physical therapy, and if it gets bad enough, they have to increase my disability.
Obviously,
because of it.
So that goes for anything.
Yeah, but I'm that's on me till the day I die.
Obviously, you can't undo a surgery.
Yeah, it's the same thing with my knees. If anything ever happens to my knees in the future, I'm covered. My lower back. If anything ever happens to my back in general, because I can just blame it on my lower back. So I'm never gonna have to worry about wheelchairs or canes or anything like that for my entire life.
I like this one. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but I read this one and I got excited. Allow private plans to compete with Medicare. Capitalism.
No, that's what it should be. There needs to be a universal one that everybody just has access to. And then, hey, if you want to pay somebody to be like, hey, we'll get you in here, we'll get you past the wait list. We'll get you in sooner. All you have to do is pay like $50 a month.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
It's called shopping around.
Yeah, it's called capitalism. That's the whole point of this country is capitalism. So why not?
That's literally what I just had to do with this fucking tooth. When I was like calling my PCP and saying, "Hey, will you give me medication for my tooth?" And they said, "No, call the ER." And I had to call the ER, and they said, "No, call your dentist." And I called the dentist. And they're like, "No, call your PCP." It's like I have to call someone. I had to call like a different PCP that wasn't mine to get what I needed.
Yeah, that's the problem with That's the problem when it comes to like free healthcare and stuff like that, where you get in these loops. That's what people are afraid of when it comes to free healthcare. They're afraid of extreme wait times. They're afraid of a reduction in the quality of service because the doctors are going to get paid no matter what, anyways.
That's fair.
And people are afraid that you're going to get into these sinister loops where it's like, hey, we can't help you. You have to go to this department. You have to go to this department. The bureaucracy, what people are afraid of. Because if it turns into a system where like, hey, legally we're supposed to help you, but hey, we don't want to, so we're going to send you to this department. And then it's just going to keep looping around. And you're never going to get helped. That's what people are afraid with universal health care. But again, if you have then the ability to have private companies compete, eliminates that.
I understand. I understand the language of that one. I didn't have to...
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, that's why Republicans fight so fucking hard to say, no, you cannot have free health care in this country.
Well, we want free health care. We just also want the ability to shop around with it.
I know. Well, that's the thing is
like, we want both. We don't just want, like, this is the only government-sanctioned shit you get, and that's it. Like, we want government-sanctioned, but then also, like, Blue Cross offers this, and whatever else offers this, Anthem, whatever, and you get to choose which one fits you better.
Well, that's kind of where the Republicans and Democrats also split, because Democrats don't want you to be able to do that. Democrats have this idea that they're going to create a perfect system that's going to work, There's going to be no issues, and it's going to be fine. I'm just telling you that's what they think.
This is why never heard Democrats say that before.
I'm telling you that's what it is. That's why they fight. Both sides have equal things. Like Republicans just don't want it at all because they're afraid that they're paranoid of socialism and shit, which is ridiculous. Well, Democrats are trying to give you it, but they're not looking at it in the perspective like, hey, everything has issues and the government can't control everything.
What I'm gathering from this is like we kind of already have what I'm trying to explain, where we have all these private companies, but we also have Medicaid, where it's kind of universal, but we put so little resources into Medicaid. We don't pay the doctors enough. We don't offer good enough services.
We do, and it's also, in order to get Medicare, you have to be poor. It's not for everybody.
I mean, yeah, that too, obviously.
You know, if you make above the poverty line, then you best get yourself some insurance because Medicare ain't going to help you.
I mean, yeah, but it's also really easy to just fake being poor. You can take a vacation from work and say, hey, I didn't get a paycheck this week. And they'd be like, oh, here's some Medicaid. Like, literally everyone, you know me. I recommend to all of my friends and family, go apply for food stamps, go apply for this, apply for this. All of them get denied for everything except for Medicaid. Everyone gets Medicaid. Everybody gets Medicaid.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, what I was saying was we already have like a dumbed down version of what I'm trying to like explain.
We do.
Aside from like you have to be poor, if we just put more money into it to make it a better system, it'll work. Like we don't need to go one extreme or the other, like only private insurance or only universal.
Yeah.
We need both. We just need to do it better.
No, that's what it is, and that's the problem. Is just when you got two idiots in office that won't listen to each other, that don't compromise, nothing happens.
I guess.
And that's the issue that we have.
That's what happened with Obama, isn't it? Where like everything that he wanted got shot down, or vice versa.
No, because that's the universal problem that we've had for a long time. Where what happens is when a president first comes in, usually when a president comes in, he usually gets the majority in either the House or the Senate, or sometimes both. And then when that happens, he's passing laws left and right. Everything's going his way. It's grand. Then what ends up happening is election time comes and the tables get turned. And suddenly, you know, we have a Democrat president in office right now. So what ends up happening, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but history has shown it's been repeating often, is suddenly the Republicans win the House and the Senate.
And then nothing is fucking done.
And then nothing will get done because then what happens is Biden's not, you know, the Senate's, the Republicans are going to be like, hey, this is a great idea. Biden's going to look at this and be like, this is a horrible idea. I'm vetoing this shit.
There needs to be a bigger, how do I want to word this? A higher bar of standard for what gets put on the president's desk. Like before it gets to him, it needs to go through House and Senate. It needs to be more than just like a 51% vote. It needs to be like a 75% or more.
They have that. It's called a filibuster.
It needs to be for everything.
Yes, but here's the problem with that.
To prevent them doing
it's a good thing and a bad thing. So like one way, I'm trying to think of a good thing that you would agree with because you're not gonna like what I use.
Oh Lord, okay.
Well, like, I'll just say it from my perspective. So, gun restrictions has been on the table for a long time.
Uh-huh.
So, constant gun control.
Yeah, but it also changes depending on who you talk to. Like, each politician wants a different version of it.
It does, but you usually end up sticking with your party is what ends up happening in Congress.
Which is stupid.
It is stupid. It's very stupid. Because it should be about the state.
It should be about what you believe in, personally.
It should be about what your state has advised you to vote on. Because you're a representative of your state.
I guess if I ever become a politician, God forbid, it's like I would be voting for what I believe is right, not for what like the majority of people want.
I mean, either way, but like I was saying, gun control goes on in the debate a lot, and what ends up happening is sometimes we get into these situations where like it's very close of which side it can go one way or another. So what sides will do is they'll be like, hey, you know. We're gonna enact a filibuster, so none of us are gonna vote on this, and there's a requirement to have a certain amount of votes on anything for it to pass. So they'll go to, I forget what it's called, but basically then it has to go to a 60-40 split.
That still doesn't seem high enough, but it's better than 50-50, I guess.
It is. It becomes a 60-40 split, and so far every time it's been enacted, it works, and it makes it so hey, the Democrats in this case can't get the 60% vote, so the gun control law does not pass. But then it's also a problem because the healthcare has come up many times where Democrats have been pushing hard for this shit.
Yes.
And Republicans have shot it down.
But, like, why do they get to pick and choose what gets a 60-40 and what doesn't? It should just be for everything.
It's because how Congress works, babe, is there are laws and, like, how a bill becomes a law. And it requires a certain amount of votes for something to happen of yes or no. But when people choose not to vote and we don't meet the restriction, they can enact.
They can choose not to vote?
Yeah.
That's horseshit. If you're a fucking elected official, you should be forced to vote on a bill. You shouldn't be able to sit it out. That's your job.
Yes, but the problem is it's a good thing and a bad thing because listen, that's how Roe v. Wade really became a thing. And many of these like important laws became a thing is because the filibusters happened and it prevented Republicans back in the day from being able to take people's rights away until the Supreme Court ruling against Roe v. Wade opened the door against it.
And for a bunch of other stuff that we're not going to get into right now.
Yes, exactly. But listen, it's a good thing and a bad thing. But the problem is, it's one of those things that there's really only one way to look at it. You either have to have it or you can't have it. But if you have it, it's going to be used against you at some point. If you don't have it, then you're going to lose probably more votes, depending on who's in office. And we're going to have this constant flip-flop every 8 years or 4 years, depending on how the presidency goes.
Okay.
So it's a shitty situation, but it's one of those things you really can't. You lose no matter which way you go.
Okay. For the last healthcare question.
Mm-hmm.
Reduce Medicaid spending. This option allows you to make one of two changes to Medicaid to reduce spending. One eliminates provider taxes, which sounds like a terrible idea, that states use to finance Medicaid spending, while the other blocks grants Medicaid.
Actually, before I throw this away, do you want this?
Not really. I read that wrong. While the other block grants Medicaid and caps its growth rate. I don't know what block grants means.
What is?
Block grant?
Block grant? I don't know what a block grant is either.
God damn it.
I mean, a grant is when it's a gift of money.
I know what that is. Let me read the more specific stuff. So I can either eliminate Medicaid provider taxes. Almost all state Medicaid programs tax healthcare providers to fund their share of Medicaid spending. Since these taxes are essentially funneled back to providers through the Medicaid spending they finance, the federal government currently limits these taxes to 6% of patient revenue. This option would reduce the provider tax by 1% per year until provider taxes are prohibited, requiring states to compensate with other revenue sources by reducing Medicaid spending. My question is, does that mean the providers are paying 6% less taxes, or are they just taking those taxes out of something else, or paying it into something else, or whatever? Second option. Medicaid is one of the fastest growing programs in the federal budget as a result of enrollment and healthcare cost growth, and because I keep telling people to apply for shit. This option would convert Medicaid into a block grant to states. The level of these block grants, what is a block grant? Would be set at...
Just Google it.
Hold on. Let me finish reading. The level of these block grants would be set at 2019 levels, and per person spending would grow at a slower rate, medical inflation, than the program is expected to grow in subsequent years. States would be given flexibility over program eligibility, coverage, and other details. I just want to go with that one because honestly, it's the same as everything else. Let the states deal with it.
Right.
Like, okay. Other domestic spending. Ugh.
Sorry.
Yeah. Freeze non-defense appropriation for 2 years. First of all, I'm giving you that immediately. I don't care what anyone says. Second of all, also this. Eliminate farm subsidies because if they can't do it, they can't do it. Reduce the cost of federal workforce. I mean, yeah. Require states to cover 1/4. Yes. First of all, we need to raise that cost. Second of all, Reduce federal worker retirement benefits. What is appropriation? Freeze non-defense appropriations for 2 years. Or return non-defense spending to 2017 levels. Those are my 2 options.
You know what appropriations is?
Nope.
Appropriations is, how can I say this in a non-racist way? Appropriations is something, the best way to explain it is appropriation. The word appropriation means when you correct a wrong through financial means. So,
okay, that didn't sound racist at all.
Huh?
That didn't sound racist at all.
A common thing that people say, it's kind of like reparations.
Oh, okay. That's 2 different words.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me read this. Non-defense discretionary spending is capped at that much in 2021, and spending is assumed to grow roughly at the rate of inflation annually after that. This option would instead freeze at the 2021 level for the following 2 years.
Oh, okay, no, so I understand what you're saying. In that case, it's saying, like, hey, we suspect that...
I mean, I understand the freezing part. I just don't understand the appropriations for 2 years part.
Okay, what it's saying is that we're suspecting that something could happen that could make it so the amount of money we're putting into this program is not enough, so we're going to increase the budget for, like, a safety.
So it means appropriation is just like assigning shit to things?
Yeah, that's basically the way to look at it.
Okay. I'm going to return it to the 2017 levels. Return non-defense spending to 2017 levels. Is there a way to make that except for, like, food and housing? Because those things are important and everything else is not.
I don't know.
That's kind of bullshit. Like, other things are more important than others. I should be able to pick and choose what I want to spend money on. That is not fair. Return... God, I hate it. But that's a big chunk of change compared to that, so we have to. Eliminate the Community Development and Community Service Block Grants. The Community Development Block Grant is that much per year grant to provide an array of support services in communities, particularly for lower income people. This eliminates both of these grants as proposed in President Trump's.
Fucker.
What?
He put his paw on me all cute like that.
Fucking cat.
Dick.
I don't want to do this one because it's not enough money to care about. Yeah, that's not a whole lot. It's like 1% at the end of it. Yeah, literally, no. Fuck that. We can keep that. Eliminate 19 independent agencies / commissions. Oh my god, that's a long list. In his fiscal year 2018 budget. Oh lord, here we go, babe.
What?
President Trump recommended eliminating 19 independent agencies or commissions to save tax money. Only $40 billion, by the way, by 2035 is how much it would save, which is not a lot. Listen to what he's gonna eliminate. African Development Foundation, Appalachian Regional Commission, Chemical Safety Board, Corporation for National and Community Service, Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Delta Regional Authority, Institute of Museum and Library Services, Inter-American Foundation, U.S. Trade and Development Agency, Legal Services Corporation, National Endowment for the Humanities, Neighborhood Reinvestment Corporation, Northern Border Regional Commission, Overseas Private Investment Corporation, U.S. Institute of Peace, U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, and the Wilson International Center for Scholars. So anything involving non-white people, anything involving peace and education, anything involving poor people, he wanted to get rid of it.
I mean, here's the thing. That sounds bad on paper, and it does. I would need to do more research on what exactly the jobs of those specific agencies were. Just talking from a military...
The Chemical Safety Board you want to get rid of?
Listen, this is what I'm telling you. There are so many times in the military, especially, that somebody would get assigned a very specific title or division, and you would find I would go over to these specific editions, and it's just a guy sitting on his ass all day doing nothing.
Okay.
Like he's supposed to be doing something, but realistically, he can hide under the radar.
The only one of these that sounds like I would want to get rid of it is the Overseas Private Investment Corporation. The rest of them we need to either keep or increase our spending into.
I don't know. I'm going to say this. I don't know enough about these agencies, but I will say just at first glance, that sounds like a horrible idea.
He wants to get rid of libraries and museums. He wants to get rid of Chemical Safety Board.
Yeah.
What's the matter with people? Reduce the cost of the federal workforce. This option would undertake a few steps to reduce federal worker pay and reduce the size of the federal workforce. Specifically, it would reduce automatic pay increases for military and civilian workers by 0.5%, reduce the federal workforce by 10% by replacing only one worker for every 3 who leave, Jesus, and repeal the Davis-Bacon Act, which requires federal construction projects to pay the prevailing wage in the project's area. Requires federal construction projects to pay the prevailing wage. That seems like a small percentage. That doesn't matter. Replacing one worker for every 3 who leave. Well, hey, stop quitting your job. Won't be an issue. And this one, As for the last sentence there, this is going to sound bad, but first of all, if you want to pay dirt cheap, find some Mexicans. Second of all, if you don't want to get paid dirt cheap, find someone else to hire you. Don't work for that person. Reduce federal worker retirement benefits. Federal worker retirement benefits consists of a defined benefit pension and a defined contribution plan along with participation in Social Security. This option would reduce pension benefits by calculating pension based off the highest 5 earning years rather than the highest 3, increase pension contributions. That sounds like a good idea. So federal workers contribute half of the amount, up from 31%, and reduce cost of living adjustments for military retirees by 1 percentage point if they are under. That sounds redundant. That's negligible. This sounds like a good idea. The highest 5 earning years instead of the highest 3 gets you a better idea of the average. Increase pension contributions so federal workers contribute half the amount. It's going back to what I said before, is either live rich or die poor. Oh, I'm at 97%. I'm almost there. Whew. Oh, here's the fun part, babe.
What?
Individual income tax.
Individual income tax.
Yep.
What are the options?
Modify the 2017 tax law. I have 4 options. I don't know what the 2017 tax law is.
I have no idea. I wish I knew tax law.
Here.
I'd probably be rich.
It's right here. In 2017, lawmakers enacted a tax law that reduced taxes for individuals and businesses because Donald Trump was president. While the corporate income tax changes were permanent, most of the individual income tax changes expire after 2025. Wait a minute. Why did he make the corporate ones permanent? I don't like that.
To make businesses grow.
The fuck's the matter with people? That's a crock of shit. That's the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life.
Give me your fucking money.
Whatever. Option number 1, extend the 2017 tax law. Hard pass. If we do that, we go back into debt $1.6 trillion. I'm not doing that. Extend the 2017 tax law, but increase the top rate. I still go back into debt $1.3 trillion. Not doing that. Extend the 2017 tax law, but increase all rates. Increase all rates. Included several changes to the individual tax law that on net reduce taxes. These changes include reducing tax rates across the board, increasing the child tax credit, increasing this, providing a deduction for non-corporate businesses, and rolling back several other deductions. However, these policies expire after 2025. This option would permanently extend the individual tax. You know what? No. I'm sticking with my party. I'm saying we're all paying higher taxes. It's going to be a great thing.
Gross.
Everyone pays better taxes. Increased child tax credit to $3,600 per child.
No.
Ooh. Do you remember last year when we got like $2,000 per kid?
No. I got $12,000.
Well, that's because you weren't getting the monthly payment. Remember last year when I was getting $2,000 per kid?
Yes.
There's an option here to increase it to $3,600 per kid. What's 3,600 times 4?
Well, sweetheart, let me tell you. I'd be glad to tell you. 3,600 times 4 is a whopping 14,400.
That's my yearly salary in a month.
What is that per month you'll get there?
That's what we got it last year.
Percy.
$14,000 a month?
We need to get this cat a social so we can claim him as well. Wait, that's so every month you would get that? So put that in perspective. Times that by 12.
What?
If you were getting that every month, by the end of a 12-month period, you would have $172,800.
$172,000 salary just off this child tax credit. But it puts you way back in more debt.
Yeah, debt. That's 170. That means the government's gonna pay you $172,000 in those fucking bitches that have like 10 kids.
But it's economic stimulus. But it helps the economy, babe.
No, it doesn't.
But we get to go spend money on our local businesses.
Yeah, we also have a humongous population boom.
Yeah.
A supply issue because we can't feed the masses.
Let me see here. The ARP significantly expanded the child tax rate for 2021 by increasing the maximum. This might be a yearly thing, not a monthly thing. I don't remember. How much money do you have to make to earn the child tax credit? That's a good fucking question. The WhiteHouse.gov. Who is eligible? Do I qualify? That's making less than. I want making more than.
Look at this spoiled ass cat.
Well, stop petting him. He'll stop being spoiled.
Look at him from the top. He got his paws all tucked in.
I see him.
He's the cute.
I already did that. Who? I want to know how much I have to make to claim a child tax credit. Is there a calculation here? I don't want the advance. I just want requirements and tax calculator. I only claim 3. You claim the other one. The number of dependents under age 6 at year's end. That was 2, 1. The other 2 were above 6. See, I don't know. Like, what changes this? What happens?
Huh?
I'm going way off topic here. I don't. Let me go back to my homework. It's not important. It doesn't matter. You know what? We don't need to increase the child tax credit because they already got an increase and it's fine. They'll be fine. Increase taxes on capital gains and dividends. Yes, always. The more money you make, the more taxes you pay. Impose surtax on income above $10 million. Always. You make $10 million a year, you should pay half that in taxes. Eliminate the mortgage interest deduction. That's a lot of words I don't understand. Homeowners who itemize their deductions can deduct interest paid on mortgages up to that much. This option would gradually reduce both limits over 7 years until more. Okay. Would gradually reduce it, so they won't even notice it's disappearing. You're supposed to be helping me.
I'm sorry, babe. It's more time consuming than I thought it was going to
I know, I'm sorry. It's just I'm confused. I don't know any of these words.
be. No, I understand. I'm glad that you're learning, but I want to get these done before I have to do my dailies
I still gotta cook.
at midnight, and we got to cook dinner. That being said, it's 10 o'clock.
I know. I'll try to cook it fast. It's just steak and rice. I'm gonna go yes on this one just because it's I don't need to explain myself. I'm going yes. Limit the charitable deduction. You know, I'm not even going to read that because if you're paying the charity, you should be paying taxes. Like, it shouldn't be a deduction. Eliminate the state and local tax deduction. What? I don't pay state taxes. Taxpayers may deduct their state and local income, sales, and property tax from their. I'm going to say yes because fuck people who don't live in New Hampshire. You don't like it, come live in New Hampshire. Close payroll tax loophole for self-employed. Close all loopholes. Close every single loophole in the fucking world. Like, if you live in a loophole, you're a piece of trash. Oh, I won. There's still more to do. I can do it better. Extend the EITC increase for childless workers. Fuck childless people. They don't deserve money. Reduce the tax gap. The difference between the amount of taxes owed and the amount it actually collects. How do you have that gap? How does that exist? If people don't pay their taxes, they go to prison, right? Unless they're a millionaire, of course. Unless they're Donald Trump. Unless they're like Bill Gates. Then they get to not pay taxes. That's fine. This option would reduce tax gap in 2 ways. First, it would increase IRS funding for 10 years to upgrade. Okay, that's a huge yes. That's an absolute needs to be done right now. Not in 10 years.
Percy, you're so fucking spoiled.
Leave Percy alone. He's a happy cat.
He's too happy.
Then stop petting him. You can't be petting him and complaining he's spoiled.
He doesn't want to be touching too often, so I gotta take advantage of all I can.
Oh, second. Oh, ooh. Oh, I don't like this one. I don't like this one. I need your help with this one, babe.
What?
I need your help deciding.
What?
So, this is reducing the tax gap. Because the IRS is owed more money than it collects every year because people don't pay their taxes and shit and whatever.
Yes.
It's going to reduce the tax gap in 2 ways. The first one is a really good way, in my opinion. It would increase the IRS funding by $80 billion over 10 years so it can upgrade its technology and operations, improve customer service, and enhance enforcement, which I'm all for. They need a better system and fucking phone service.
Okay.
The second one sounds awful. It would require banks to report total withdrawals and deposits from certain accounts. You can't just say no.
Shooting it down. Burning it down. Nope. They already tried this shit. They already tried this shit before, and they got shot down in a blaze of glory.
You know what?
It's not worth it.
I'm saying yes. And you know what my logic is? If you're voting no on this one, you have something to hide and you don't deserve it.
Yeah, Sammy, you have stuff to
hide. I only have stuff to hide from the welfare taxes, not from the IRS. I don't lie to the IRS.
That don't matter.
The government can go fuck itself.
That's the whole point. The IRS is part of the government.
I don't lie to the IRS. The IRS pays me way more than I pay them. Okay?
It doesn't matter, Sammy.
The IRS is on my side.
And listen, the welfare spree can only last for so long, Sammy, before you have to go into the working force and start worrying about your
Oh, I'm very much aware. That's why I'm trying to take advantage of it while I can.
Because listen, the number one rule you have to understand, when you give government power, you can never take it back. You can never take it back.
I'm aware.
So if you give it to them, it's there forever.
Just take the Republicans' fucking word of advice and just don't break the law. If you don't break the law, it won't be a problem, babe.
Yeah, I'm sure that works out great.
It works great for the black
none
people.
Of those motherfuckers are fucking hypocrites sitting in those chairs.
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole fucking point, babe.
No, fuck that shit. I agree that the IRS needs to be upgraded, but it can't be a pros and cons thing.
I'm still saying yes. It's a fictional scenario.
I would say we would do.
I would vote yes for it if it came in front of me.
I would put a law in place that says the second part can never happen. That's what I would do.
Just don't break the law.
Fuck you, I want to.
Fuck you, I want to.
No, it's American. I'm a fucking American, man. My job is to break the law. It's in my blood.
I finally cracked my back.
But no, it's in my blood.
It's in your blood to break the law.
It is in my blood as an American to find every way possible to break the law that I believe is unjust.
I got that all out of my system.
We would not be a country without it.
I can move my back now. I got all my law breaking out of my system in 2015. I'm good.
You're still breaking the law.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're frauding the government.
Am I? Am I really?
Yes, you are. Yes, you fucking are.
If you say so. Institute a cap on the health insurance tax exclusion. Employer-paid premiums for health insurance are excluded from an employee's income, which is the largest single tax break in the code. That was a lot of reading and not understanding. Employer-paid premiums are excluded from an employee's income. I knew that. I learned that when I became an insurance salesperson. Employer-paid premiums are excluded from an employee's, yes. I mean, it's not income because they're not getting the money. They don't ever see it. The amounts of premiums paid by employers above the new thresholds would be included in employee income and taxed. Well, it's only 25%. It's only a quarter of it. So if your employer pays $50 a month for you to have insurance, you're only getting taxed on $12. That's worth it. I didn't do as good this year. Or this time, I should say. I mean, Long-term debt is still high. It's going down. What do you mean? It's still going down. You know what? That's good enough. How did I fixed it last time? I was in a surplus last time. How? I got a short-term fix. I didn't fix it this time like I did last time. I did the same answers though. Like I went off of my morals, my personal beliefs, like I did last time.
Well, clearly your morals.
My morals didn't change that much in like 6 months.
Well, I guess your personal beliefs did. Person, you are the embodiment of spoiled. I hope you know.
Huh.
No cat has the wife you have, person.
Okay. Well. I will not be explaining myself. I will not be answering any questions. Thank you. Goodbye.